Fearscape Media Network, exploring the unknown, one podcast at a time. Coming to you from nowhere, a suburb of parts unknown. Join Stefan and Lance, the Misters of the Dark, as they review all things horror with their latest victim. I mean guest. New episodes of Misters of the Dark drop Mondays on the Fearscape Media Network.
Hello, and welcome to The Antagonists, an all-villain podcast. I'm your resident goblin, Sam, and host. Lance, you still there?
Ah!
Oh gosh, what the hell?
I've been waiting to do that all day.
To terrify me?
Yep.
Well, you succeeded. I'm glad that you managed to do that.
All right. Yep, I'm done. Bye, everybody. Happy New Year.
Yep, that was the man with no name, Lance Wayne, everybody.
Yep, bye.
Bye, Lance. It's fine. I can talk about, this week's villain myself.
This week's villain, wait a minute. I'm going to guess them first.
Okay, you want to guess him? Okay, give me some guesses.
Okay. All right. Fatty Arbuckle.
Did you just say Fatty Arbuckle?
Yes.
Okay, so sorry.
Was I right?
You're not right, but
Ugh.
for anybody who out there who watches Critical Role like me, the nerds, that's going to have a definitely different meaning.
What? I thought you. What?
Sorry, when you say Fatty Arbuckle, my mind goes
a comedian in the early 19th century.
Is that what Fatty Arbuckle really is?
Yeah, he was like friends with oh god, not Charlie Chaplin, the other one.
Oh no, I'm just thinking of the comedian Chris Hardwick from the past couple decades, who was on a popular D&D show as a necromancer dragonborn who had a skeleton named Fatty Arbuckle.
That whole entire statement you just said, it sounds like a foreign language to me.
I mean, it does to most people that I try to talk to, about D&D. Most people have no idea what I'm saying.
Lord, that is a lot to take in.
I could go on for days.
Well, let's not, because okay, let me have a second guess real quick.
Okay.
Is our subject this week Rasputin?
Yes, it is. It's
Rasputin. Yes. Oh, I got it. I've never gotten anything right in my whole life.
I know. It's very obvious
for me. This is a big deal for me.
I know. And Lance, as a sort of just kind of a gift from me to you.
Oh no.
I want to give you something.
Is it a goth girl?
It is definitely not a goth girl. I want to give you a joke.
Oh no. Can I please just take the goth girl?
I don't have any goth girls in stock, but we do have jokes in multiples. So, hey, Lance.
What
horror villain is the best at saving money?
Oh, God. I don't know who.
It's Pennywise. Get it?
That's pretty good. I gotta admit, I like that. That's pretty good.
I chose that one specifically for you because
Okay.
like I wanted to tell the joke and I wanted you to not completely hate me for it. So I figured I had to bring
I'm actually admire you a lot for that.
I mean, don't admire me too much. I definitely got it off of a joke site.
I don't care. It was still that was still gold. That sounds like something Fatty Arbuckle would say back in the day.
Yeah, that
Well, I
chatty
guess he wouldn't.
skeleton.
Well, I guess he wouldn't say it because it was back before the talkies, but
But yes, you were right. And our villain
let's get off of Fatty Arbuckle.
I'm never getting off of Fatty Arbuckle.
Whoa! Oh! Hooah!
I know what I said and I don't take it back, but this week our villain is none other than Rasputin. And so tell me, Lance, when you think of Rasputin, what do you think of?
I think of two things, which are going to be the dominant what's the word I'm looking for?
Subjects?
The dominant like representations of the man, because he was a real life person. But I think of Anastasia and Hellboy. That's exactly what comes to mind. It's Anastasia and Hellboy.
Do you remember do you remember when you first like encountered Rasputin as a character?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was Anastasia. Which I just because you see Anastasia or whatever, and he's like this like ultra villain who's like undead, and it's like casting all these spells and stuff. And then later on, and I'm like, when this movie came out, I had to be like 8 or 9. You see the movie and he's like, just this larger than life character that's like undead or whatever. And then people are like, oh, he was a real guy. So to me, Anastasia was pretty much like a documentary.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I get where you're coming from because I felt the same way. But boy, oh boy, have I done some research. And can I tell you that is so far from the truth? It gets dark, motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's what I'm really interested in, because I know the basics, like kind of what everybody else knows about them. But yeah, you were saying you like really found some like weird stuff about them. So yeah, I'm really interested in hearing this myself.
Yeah, because I mean, I gotta throw this out there. I've never seen Hellboy, not once in my entire life.
Well, get out of here.
I mean, okay, I'll go take a nap. Goodbye, everybody.
You would like Hellboy.
I mean, I probably would. Honestly, I keep meaning to watch it. I've just never have.
Well, there's two of them. And the first 2 are good, and then they tried rebooting it. I've never seen it, so I can't like 100% say, oh, it's awful. But just from the trailers and stuff, it didn't look good. I don't know.
My thing is, I always knew Rasputin from Anastasia.
Yeah.
And my thing is, I know that I watched it as a child because I had the VHS tape. Yeah. I know I had the VHS tape because it still exists at my parents' house. I watched it as a child. I know it. But at the same time, sometime in my adult life, I guess I hadn't watched it quite enough as a child. And it became more of like this weird fever dream where I knew that I had seen it. I knew that it existed and I had like vague memories of it, but I didn't actually remember anything about it until I watched it again a few years ago. And then it's like, oh wait, this is right. Once upon a December. Oh my gosh, was it Bartok, his little bat companion?
Yeah, Bartok. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
It's a really good I mean, I still to this day, I think it's a really good animated film,
It's fantastic. And I would like to say that I was watching it again recently and I was sitting there and there's the one guy, Dimitri, the main guy who's trying to help Anastasia. And I'm like, who is this guy? Like, I know his voice. Like
John Cusack.
I know that's what I was getting to. I was going to say, I'm sitting here. Who is this guy? What is this going to be? And then I was going to say it's John Cusack. But guess what you just did there, Lance?
I ruined your story.
You ruined the entire story
by
saying the most obvious thing that I was going to get to.
I go from, having a right answer to being right for the first time to completely just going back to ruining everything and being a piece of shit.
I mean, well, at least we've come full circle. This has been a great episode so far.
It's so far. We don't even have to record anything else.
But no, so the thing about Rasputin is Rasputin was actually a historical figure, which is something that we have yet to do. Rasputin in these different depictions was actually based off of a real man, a real person. Which,
I mean, the Grinch wasn't real?
I mean, other than you, I don't know any other Grinches.
That was a good answer.
Yeah. But, for the uninitiated, we always kind of talk about like the humble beginnings of our villains. And the humble beginnings of our villain in this one actually come from actual history. So for everyone out there, please be aware that neither of us are historians, but we do have access to Wikipedia.
Yeah, we're barely even historians.
I was going to say we're barely even people. So
I think mine's funny.
But no, I say Rasputin in these different depictions was based off of an actual man. His name was Grigory Yefimovich Rasputin. Oh. And he
sounds so sexy when you talk Russian.
Oh, it doesn't. I probably say it horribly.
Well, to me.
Oh, yeah. It's like talk horrible Russian to me. That famous song.
Go on. Oh my, this is already going off the rails. Go on.
But no, Rasputin or Gregorius Rasputin was an actual man who actually worked with the Romanov dynasty in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, originally he was just like a peasant man. He was just a regular peasant man. And then at one point I don't know if he actually had any sort of visions or if it was just him conning his way to the top, but he eventually became this sort of mystic visionary prophet that wormed his way into the highest court of the Russian Empire at the time. And the people in charge at the time, the family of Nicholas II and Empress Alexandra, they loved him because they had a son named Alexei who was hemophiliac.
What does that mean?
Hemophilia, something. It's a inherited blood disorder. It's the one where it's hard to make blood clots. So whenever you're bleeding, it means that you're gonna bleed a lot.
Oh, yeah, okay, yep. Yeah, okay. I know what that is.
And it can do a lot more. And once again, not a doctor.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So
I'm sorry to interrupt, but so what time period is this all in?
Okay, so
is it in the 1900s or
it? Well, I was gonna say yeah, because oh gosh, when did he join up with them? He joined up with the Romanov Empire around late 1906. He met them in November of 1905, Emperor Nicholas and Empress Alexandra.
See, and I mean, it's just crazy. In the big scheme of things, that's not too long ago. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's definitely not.
Yeah. That'd be like the president hooking up with, like, I don't know, Miss Cleo or something. You know what I mean? I go on though. I find that crazy, but go on.
I see, but yeah, he started working with them, and he was supposed to be this religious figure. And granted, a lot of his life is subject to hearsay and just kind of word of mouth. And he was generally distrusted because of kind of being that sort of like a cultish sort of figure, this sort of mystic figure.
Yeah, I don't.
And
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. So you're seen as a religious figure, like, but like, that I don't get that. A religious figure, like, was it what religion was? It couldn't have been Christianity, could it?
I mean,
I mean,
honest,
like you said, the dude was into like occult stuff, and if there's one thing Christians don't like, it's that damn occult.
I mean, I once again, not entirely sure, but whatever, he was it was probably, it was probably some sort of Christianity at the time that he was, being a kind of mouthpiece of God for.
Yeah,
Granted, once
okay.
again, that could
A
also
false prophet.
100% not be true. But
Okay, yeah, go on. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you.
I know I never interrupt these when you do it, but
I know.
here
I'm
I
sorry.
am.
Go ahead.
I'm just
sorry.
saying, like, this is a back and forth respect sort of thing, and I just kind of expect that as well. But no, so a lot of people didn't like him because they felt that he was kind of bending the ear of the most important Russian royalty at the time. And they figured that he was the reason why they were losing the war. And that was when a lot of different Russian influencers and a nobleman came together to plot his assassination. Well, actually, I think he was attempted assassination a little bit before. Like, he was attempted assassination. I can't give the exact year, but it's going to be earlier than the year when he actually died, which was around 1916, I believe. I think it was like 1912. There was a woman who tried to like stab him to death for being a fake prophet. And then he was actually murdered in 1916 by a bunch of like Russian nobles and stuff like that, who did not like his influence over the emperor, the empress of Russia at the time. So this is kind of where the story gets a little bit wonky, because the popular story is that they first tried to poison him. That didn't work. So then they tried to shoot him, and that didn't work. So then they finally drowned him, and that was what finally killed him. And they only knew for sure that he was dead when he washed up on shore a few days later down the stream. And my thing about it is, I don't have all the facts, but I was watching a video earlier where in the actual autopsy that was done, there was no poison found in his system. And he had a couple different bullet holes in him, and I think there was one in his head that was determined to be his cause of death. And he was probably dead when they threw him into the water. So he wasn't a man that was somehow immortal and took more to kill. I mean, he was just a mystic, honestly, he was probably a con man. That anything that would have happened around him that he would have lived through or done anything through, there would have been stories around it, because they didn't know exactly what happened, because especially back then you didn't have the transfer of information like we have today. So that's made him a very mystical sort of figure in history, which is why we have these different depictions of him in extremely mystical ways.
I'd say because like I said, I just know that, like, until you told me, I never knew about the autopsy that you just talked about. I've never heard of it, so I was still under the assumption, that it took forever for them to kill him. So, that's news to me. It's kind of a bummer, really. I don't
That he
know.
wasn't really magic?
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer.
No, I mean, the fact of the matter is, from everything that I can find, is that he was just a dirty, stinking con man. And I mean that literally, like, throughout his entire period of time with the Emperor of Russia, he kept this kind of like dirty peasant vibe to him. And a lot of people disliked him and didn't think that he was religious simply because he was always seen like being a sexist piece of shit. And
Really?
oh yeah, he was definitely like luring women and going to brothels and shit and just generally being skeezy as fuck.
Just generally being Russian.
Nope.
I'm so
nope. That's nope. Hard is a her no.
That was a joke. It's a joke. I have nothing against Russians.
Vodka's great. We love it.
Well, I don't, guys. You can have all the vodka you want.
I would, but it gives you so much heartburn.
Okay, Grandma.
I know. I'm sorry. That's why I drink bourbon now, because for some reason that doesn't give me heartburn.
Oh God. Okay. Well, we digress. But all right, Sam, you asked me. Now I guess I gotta ask you. When was the first? I guess we kind of already know the answer, but I guess Anastasia was your first introduction to this person, also.
Yeah, because once again, when I first saw it as a child, I obviously did not know that it was real. I did not know that this was at least vaguely based off of a real story or real people.
Yeah.
I just, thought it was like a fun Disney movie and I enjoyed it. But Rasputin
it's not a Disney movie, by the way.
It is on Disney Plus, so I'm pretty sure
it's because it's a Fox.
It's a Don Bluth movie.
Now
I need.
It's Don Bluth. Yes, okay, but it now it's a Disney movie, but it was a Fox film.
Everything is a Disney movie. They now own us as people.
Pretty
This is now a Disney podcast.
Yeah, I want some of that Disney money then. Yeah. I mean, please, I'll sell out. I don't care. I have no soul. So, please, Disney.
I will talk about Disney till the day I die if I get some of that Disney money.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'll blow Mickey.
Okay. That's the cut scene from Kingdom Hearts that, if you just type in the right set of button combination, you can see. So.
Me blowing Mickey?
Yes, it's specifically Lance blowing Mickey.
Well, I want some of that Disney money for that. That mouse, my God, what a... Whew, man.
But anyways.
He's into some weird kinks, but go ahead.
So the thing about... that has really kind of thrown me about learning about the actual person of Rasputin versus what is depicted in the movie is they kind of... they really leaned into the sort of mystical aspect. He was more of a sorcerer in that movie. Also, they didn't really give a reason as to why he was angry at the Romanov family, because the idea in the movie is that the Romanov family and that the Emperor Nicholas had banished him for some reason, and he's like, I'm just going to sell my soul and I will not rest until all the Romanovs are dead. And of course, Anastasia makes it free, and he can't die until it's done, and there's bar talk, and it's a whole little chase thing there. But the idea...
I'm sorry. I just want to ask a question because you've watched it more recently than I have. Is he in like purgatory? Because there's that weird world he's in. So it's purgatory.
Well, I don't necessarily know that it's purgatory. Something that I was reading earlier about it, and that I think it's an interesting thing, is it's almost... What do you know about liches? Do you know what that means?
What?
Liches.
No idea.
Okay, they're basically like wizards or sorcerers or whatever that have almost sold their solar humanity for power. I mean, there's a lot more into it, but
And
that's
they
the
sold
basic
it.
idea.
When you say they've sold their soul, do you mean to Satan, or is there some other deity, or
I don't know if it's ever like mentioned a deity. It's almost like they sold their soul for power. And you can say, based on the kind of skeletal zombie like nature that they keep, that it could be to Satan or whatever bad thing there is. You
Okay.
know? They
Yeah.
basically sold themselves for power.
Okay.
And that kind of seems like what Rasputin in this movie has done. He sold his soul for the power to kill the Romanovs. And even in what you will see with liches and things like that, at least in D&D, is that they have these sort of reliquaries, these different... It can show up in different ways, whether it's like a box. In this one, it's almost like this little like test tube bottle that almost, if they were to die, it holds their soul so they can come back to life. So
okay, yeah, all right.
So I almost imagine like he is a lich. He sold his soul for the power, and then at the time he did die because in the movie he was drowned chasing after Anastasia. So his soul went back to the reliquary, or whatever was left of him went back to the reliquary bottle. And then he only came back later once he realized that Anastasia was not dead.
So okay. That makes a lot of sense.
And let's just throw out there, one, he is a thoroughly entertaining villain. I mean,
he is
voiced by Christopher Lloyd.
Oh, and I'm going to add, I'm just going to go out and say this first. He has one of the best villain songs of all time.
Fun. It is pretty fun.
Oh my God. I rock out to that. I may be one of those things that like, I think I know about it. I just know about it. But then other people are like, oh God, you're just getting into this guy. But Jonathan Young does an awesome cover of it. Jonathan Young, he does a whole bunch of like Disney covers and things like that, but he makes them like not really metal, but just kind of rock, Okay. And his version of this is flawless. It is so awesome. But yes, but he has one of the greatest villain songs, period, in my opinion.
Yeah, I say one that sounds awesome. I'm gonna have to give it a listen later.
Yes,
but yeah, in the Anastasia movie, he's definitely interesting to watch, especially because they, like I said, they definitely lean into the sorcerer aspect, and he definitely seems more of a sort of lich type character.
Well, I've never understood, and I mean, I know, honestly, for probably all intents and purposes, just like they had, what's the puppy's name in that movie? Puka,
something like, Puka.
Yeah. They just needed a cute little animal, in the movie. But Bartok, I've never really understood the relationship that he has with Bartok. So is Bartok, I guess, kind of like his familiar?
I mean, Bartok, it's a Disney movie, or it is a Fox movie, or it is a cartoon movie. And they needed cute talking animals to make it appealing.
Bartok, he doesn't really do anything evil, though, does he?
Well, Bartok does seem to serve an evil leech character, and excuse me for saying so, but he's kind of like the reluctant sort of henchman to the villain in the movie, if you say.
Okay, first, please stop doing that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to offend. I'm sorry. That was my attempt at a Bartok accent.
Okay, well, but now it's awkward.
I'm sorry. I really love Bartok. He's so cute.
I do too. Oh my God, I remember growing up. Burger King. You know how it was there for a short period of time, and I guess it's just because people probably got on their asses on these fast food companies and were like, listen, you already bust our balls with the Happy Meal toys. Do not be adding any other toys to the friggin' menu. But there for a while in the 90s, you had your Happy Meal. You had like your kids meal toys, like little plastic, whatever. But you could also get like these like upgraded Happy Meal toys or something where they were like puppets and stuff and like stuffed toy. Do you remember that?
I don't know. Like, I mean, they had so many different types of Happy Meal toys over the years.
Burger King was the worst about it.
See, I think Burger King, I just think of like the weird like gold Pokemon cards.
I remember those.
Yep.
They were kind of like that. That's what it was kind of like, because they didn't come to your Happy Meal. You had to buy it separate.
Oh, did you? I don't know. I just never got them.
Oh, well, that was like, well, I remember I was just like obsessed with getting a bar talk, because that was one of like I had like 3 Pukas. I don't know why. I had like 3 Pukas, but like what I really wanted was bar talk, and I finally got them, and hell, I probably played with them for about 15 minutes, and being the brat I am, you know what I mean?
I mean, you're still a brat, so. But
not diagnosed.
You don't have to be diagnosed as a brat. It's like visible on site.
Okay.
But yeah, and also just to kind of go with the kind of lich theory for Rasputin in this movie, is that actually the way that he's defeated in the movie is that Anastasia destroys his reliquary, which is, the thing that he keeps his soul in, and then he's kind of like dragged off to hell or whatever.
Yeah.
So the thing is, it's pretty heavy into this movie that Rasputin is a lich, which I think I just talked myself into liking him a little bit more.
I mean, I completely agree. I think I feel like I'd be insulting you by saying it's a theory. I feel like it's probably what they were really going for.
I don't even know if they knew how hard they were hitting the mark on that one, but it's pretty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who knows? Don Bluth or whoever wrote it or whatever, they could have. I mean,
it's super into D&D.
Yeah, I mean, the people that you find out play like or did or still do play D&D is very. It's a very eclectic group. You know what I mean?
I say there are nerds in all of us, and we're out there. We're coming for you.
Hey, all you rogues and rapscallions. Have you ever wanted to start your own podcast, but you're not really sure how to do that? Let me explain to you why Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's free. Did you hear that? It's completely free. There's even creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Anchor is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So go ahead, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Sam, this is a good way to segue into the next thing, because you may be a D&D dork, but I am a comic book dork.
Oh, you're one of those.
Yes. And I think the most famous the other most famous representation of Rasputin has to be the Hellboy films, or though he was only in the first one, so the Hellboy film.
Well, or the comic books, I would assume that he was in.
Well, yeah, he was in the comics. I don't think I've read that comic. It's been a while since I've read a Hellboy comic, and I do love Hellboy. I mean, hell, I'm no pun intended. I'm looking at a Hellboy Funko like right now as we speak.
Because you need more stuff for your desk at work.
I do. Yes, it's my own little heaven. But anyway, no. This is another really popular interpretation of this person. Is odd. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that sounds kind of odd rolling off the tongue. But he was portrayed by actor, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong. I apologize. Karel Rodin.
Who? What?
Karel Rodin was the actor's name.
In which movie is this in?
Hellboy. Anyway. And Rasputin. Okay, so he's been they tried to kill him. What was the family name again? I'm sorry.
The Romanovs?
The Romanovs try to kill him. They can't. So he goes on and guess who he shacks up with?
I don't know.
The Nazis.
Oh, okay, sure. Why not? Let's just go straight in.
Yep.
Because, in comics, when you need a bad guy, where better to look than Nazis?
Exactly. But he shacks up with the Nazis. The Nazis.
The Nazis.
In an attempt to unleash and I'm going to pronounce this wrong too, Drew Jihad. And this I'm not going to pronounce this character's name again. It's this big gelatinous. It's pretty much, and I mean, I know I've read a lot of Lovecraft. I'm not an expert in Lovecraft lore, so if I get shit wrong, please forgive me, because I know there are people out there. You want to talk about one of the first connected universes? Lovecraft, his stories all tied into one another with the old gods and the elder god, things like that. And they were so abstract, like even in the Hellboy film, this god that he's trying to conjure up is pretty much a big octopus.
Cthulhu?
No, it's not Cthulhu. No,
Okay.
no. Cthulhu. See, I think I'm going on a bit of a tangent here.
Okay,
I
get on
think
your
people-
soapbox.
Well, not so much a soapbox, but it just my personal opinion. I feel like people kind of hooked on to Cthulhu just because Cthulhu was the god that you could sort of, and he may not even be a god. Like, again, I apologize, but he was one of the only of these Lovecraft monsters that it wasn't so abstract. It was basically kind of like a gargoyle with an octopus for a head. Like
it was something that like people could like grab onto, like almost picture, even though like seeing Cthulhu would apparently like just kind of fry your fucking mind.
Yeah, but I think that's a monster they like really kind of, and I mean, even me, like I said, I've read countless Lovecraft stories, and it's just Cthulhu, I don't know, just sort of is a symbol of the whole Lovecraftian universe.
Oh yeah,
for lack of a better term.
Hey, I actually have a copy of the Necronomicon.
Somebody brought that to high school when I was in high school,
Uh-huh.
and I read a little of it, and I had one of my first panic attacks.
Really?
Cause this dude, now I look back at it and I'm like, oh God, it's so dumb, so naive, which I still am. But I didn't know, like I had heard I wasn't into Lovecraft in high school, but I did know the Necronomicon from, and you probably already know what I'm gonna say.
The Evil Dead. Yeah.
The Evil Dead films.
Yeah, Evil Dead.
So I was like, oh God, this shit is real. And I read a little bit of it, and I was like, oh God, I'm going to be possessed by Satan. And it just, I don't know, man. I was just like 17 at the time, and I just, yeah.
See,
And the dude who brought it, he's talking it up. You know what I mean? He's like,
oh yeah.
oh dude, the shit's legit, blah, 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 blah.
Well, see, my thing is I got my copy of the Necronomicon from someone that I used to know years back. And my thing is that, one, I already kind of knew about it once again because from The Evil Dead, I was a fan of the movie. And then this person that I knew said that they had a copy of the Necronomicon and they needed to get rid of it because they kept hearing voices come from it. And
oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh geez.
I say, so of course I'm like, I don't believe in any of this. So I took it. And long story short, I also did try to read from the book because I wanted to kind of be like Eve or Evie. Did she say Eve or Evie from the Mummy?
I'm not sure. Man, you want to talk about some films I haven't watched in a while? Those Mummy movies.
I will watch The Mummy at least once a year for the rest of my life because Brendan Fraser.
I do like the first one. And the second one's not that bad. I kind of like the second one. The third one I never saw. I still haven't seen it. Where they're like, I believe is it Japan?
Wait, the second one? What?
No, the third one. They made a third one.
Oh wait, yeah, the third one is like the Scorpion King, and it doesn't have the original woman who
What?
was.
No, the third one, the Scorpion. Mummy.
There's a third Mummy, and it's not Scorpion King. I know which movie you're talking about, and it still did not have the same woman that played Eve or Evie or whatever the fuck her name was. But it did still have Brendan Fraser in it, and that's actually he hurt himself really bad doing that movie, which is one of the reasons why he kind of like fell off.
Oh well, that's sad.
I love Brendan Fraser.
I do. I like Airheads. I love that movie. You ever seen that movie?
I have not seen Airheads, but then there's Encino Man. So
yeah, we're getting entirely off the topic.
I know. I want to talk about George of the Jungle.
No, but anyway, in Hellboy, he's trying to conjure up this Lovecraftian monster that he believes would destroy. I guess it says their enemies, and I guess him and the. I don't know. I didn't know Rasputin really had a thing against the Jewish people, but maybe he did in this timeline. But it will destroy their enemies and remake the world into paradise. I don't know. I'm telling you, that Lovecraft stuff, man. That Lovecraft stuff gets so confusing.
So, I mean, like this Rasputin, does it like... Is it supposed to be the same sort of like Russian mystic that was with the Romanovs? Like
yes.
Okay, so
it's pretty much it's depicted that he was with the Romanovs.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to kill him, so he was like, "Wow, I don't think these people like me anymore." So I guess the next thing was like, "I'm gonna check up with the Nazis," and I mean, even with the Nazis, you hear about how into the occult they were. So I guess, and I mean, I think it's I love the film. I love the first two Hellboy films. Love them.
Uh-huh.
I think there's some of the, I mean, if you want to put them in that genre, I don't even know if you can, but I guess they're two of the best superhero films ever, or comic book adaptions, however you want to say it. I mean, I really do. I'm really a big fan of those first two Hellboy films. But yeah, I mean, that as far as the storyline goes, like I said, he shacks up with the Nazis. It's supposed to, and it's supposed to be like he was real.
Yeah.
However, the Allies attacked the church where the ceremony was performed. Professor, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Trevor Ruttenholm tossed a grenade at the portal. The grenade damaged the device that created the portal, rendering it unstable. The portal sucked Rasputin towards it, and when he tried to escape, the failing equipment electrocuted him to death. I don't remember that last part. I remember him being sucked into the portal, but I do not remember him being electrocuted to death. So maybe it's been a while since I've seen it. I've seen it enough times I feel like I would remember, but I don't remember that last part. Well, but it's also, according to the films, it's also that portal is sort of what brings Hellboy into the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing with Hellboy is like I said, I've read Hellboy comics. It's been a while since I've read Hellboy comics. It's one of those things, I knew a lot about it, but just through time, since I haven't really kept up with it, I've sort of I guess lost track of it, you know what I mean? But the Hellboy's whole deal was he was this hero, but at the same time, it was always foretold that he was to bring about the end of the world.
Okay.
So I don't know, which is a great contrast because Professor Bruttenholm, at least in the films, which makes, I don't know, the film's a little bit, God, I can't believe I'm using this word, a little bit more touching for me.
Oh,
Shut
he's
up.
so sweet and sensitive.
Shut up.
I will never.
Shut up.
Did it give you all the feels, Lance?
Shut up.
Did you cry?
Anyway, shut up! I'm trying to explain this.
Sorry.
But you know, Hellboy, because when Hellboy first shows up, he's not, because I mean, I know you haven't seen the films, but you know, like, what Hellboy looks like, right?
I do know what Ron Perlman in red makeup looks like.
Yeah, big, tough dude, you know.
Yeah.
Intimidating. Well, you know, when he comes through, he's just a little baby.
Oh.
He's a little baby Hellboy. Like, you know.
He's a little baby demon.
Yeah, but the thing is, he just latches on to the professor, and throughout the first two films at least, I mean, it's even Hellboy calls the professor father, and the professor calls Hellboy his son.
Oh.
You know, they developed this father-son.
Yeah.
That's why you know, Hellboy's a hero.
I say, just because you come from hell doesn't mean you have to be a bad guy.
Well, and I mean, I guess see, that's the thing too, because even the name Hellboy, it wasn't like, because I guess he didn't technically come from hell, you know, it was some kind of interdimensional thing, but they it was because it was during World War II, so it was like the army was going after Rasputin and the Nazis. It was like a special sector. It was the beginning of the and I may say it wrong, I think it's the BMPRD, the Bureau. No, wait a minute. Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense. So the BRPD. Is that right?
Bureau for the what?
Paranormal Research and Defense.
BPRD?
Yeah, BPRD. And it was when they were first starting. And so, yeah, there's the army, but then there's this kind of mousy little professor following behind them that, yeah, he doesn't have like brute strength or a gun or anything, but he knows enough about the occult and stuff like that, that where he can use his wits to battle it. You know what you know?
I get what you're saying. This definitely sounding like a Call of Cthulhu game. I've gotcha.
But anyway, but it was, you know, the professor, you know, kind of adopted him, but the rest of the group, I mean, it even says in the film, he's like the, you know, the group I was with, they named him, but I don't feel like it was really an appropriate name, but they named him Hellboy. You see?
Yeah.
Because you know, they see he's red and he has horns, so, you know.
So obviously he's from hell.
Yeah. And he was like I said, he was like a toddler.
He's a baby.
Yeah, so they said, boy, you know, Hellboy. And the professor's even like, I didn't really agree with it, but, you know, that's what he was called, you know?
They didn't even give him, like, another name, like Frank or anything?
His real name, God, and I don't think I have it here. I don't think I have it. God, I need to watch these movies again.
Well, I was able to look up his actual name. His true
Hellboy's
name. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, shit. Gosh, I feel like you now saying that I'm going to say this wrong. Anung Unrama?
That sounds close.
Anung Unrama?
Yeah, that sounds close. But anyway, to get back to the film, 60 years later, Rasputin's lover, Elsa von Hopstein, and Karl Ruprecht Cronin resurrects him in the mountains of Moldavia. Return to a world that has changed in his absence, Rasputin summoned the Hellhound. Get this. The Hellhound Samuel.
Hey.
Samael.
Samael?
Brittenholm spent much of the film trying to locate Rasputin, who appeared to Hellboy multiple times in the film. Eventually, he entered the Bureau headquarters with Cronin, who killed Brittenholm. So, yeah, that's a really intense part of the film. Because he has this lackey, Cronin, that's, and I don't remember the exacts, but he's kind of like this assassin. And he was killed. But they brought him back to life using clockwork. If that makes any sense. Like he's just cogs and stuff like that.
Like sort of some like this clockwork golem sort of thing?
Yeah. But he ends up killing the professor.
Oh dear.
Yeah. And they eventually track Rasputin down at this mausoleum. And at one point, Hellboy, it's Liz. Liz is sort of, I don't know if it's in the comics so much, but it is in the film. Liz is this, what do they call it when you can when you set things on fire with your mind?
Oh gosh, pyro something. Oh gosh.
Well, anybody who knows, please correct us. But she's one of those, and she's sort of Hellboy's love interest. And they track him down at this mausoleum. Well, Rasputin sucked Liz's soul out of her body and told Hellboy her soul would be returned if he freed the monster that he was trying to conjure up back with the Nazis. And then there's he's supposed to be sort of like, I guess, the outsider. He's supposed to be like sort of coming at it from our perspective. There's this agent called John Myers that is with them. And he convinces Hellboy to stop. And he broke off his regrown horns and stabbed Rasputin with one of his horns. This killed the mystic for good. Because when Hellboy turns evil, he grows because I hate having to explain this whole film since you haven't seen it. But Hellboy, he shaves down his horns. Because he's very embarrassed by them. So he shaves down his horns into these two little stumps.
Pyrokinesis.
Okay, yeah, that's that.
Pyrokinetic. Sorry, it's been bugging me for a minute, and I had to say it.
But he saws down his horns because he's very he's very ashamed. Like, I don't know, he's embarrassed by them. It makes him feel more human not to have the horns.
Yeah.
But once once Rasputin's like, I want you to become evil so you can bring about the end of the world, blah, blah, blah. His horns grow back.
Okay.
And he wants to save his girlfriend's life. So obviously he's like, okay, I'll do it. But this Myers character says, your father, God, why am I getting teary-eyed right now? Why am I getting teary-eyed?
You need a hug, Lance?
Oh, shut up. But he says to Hellboy, he says, don't do this. Your father gave you a choice. He let you, because Rasputin just wants Hellboy to be this creature who brings on Armageddon, a killing machine, whatever. But his father, or at least his adopted father, says no. He gave him a choice. He let him see the good that the world has to offer. And so he breaks off his horns and he stabs Rasputin, and he fights the big monster, and it's awesome, and you should see it because it's a great film.
Are you okay, Lance? Are you having an emotional moment now?
I'm fine. Shut up.
It's okay. Really, if it's a movie that hits you in a place, that's okay.
Shut up. Shut up.
I'm just saying.
Shut up.
It's
Shut up.
Not joking. It's okay to cry.
Shut up.
Everybody, if you don't know already, it's okay to cry.
No, it's not.
I cry at I still cry at the Pokemon the first movie every single time I watch it.
Okay, but that's how Rasputin is represented or portrayed by Karel Rodin in the Hellboy film.
Looks like Carol.
I know. I want to say that, but
It could. I mean, it literally could just be Carol.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I gotta admit, in both representations, he's a complete bastard.
Oh yeah, he's
yeah. I mean,
like, from what I can tell, is that what you get from it is that the character in history, probably most likely from all accounts, a complete dickbag.
Yeah.
And then every depiction of him is like dickbag, but with magic.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Dickbag, but he really has mystical powers.
Yeah, like actual magic.
Yeah,
he's not just
yeah.
some guy like saying like, hey, I know spells, want to see this dick.
Yeah, I mean, like anybody, okay, like in the Anastasia film, he's trying to kill a innocent girl, and in the Hellboy films, he's siding with the Nazis. I mean, you can't really.
Oh yeah, 100%. He is not the good guy in any of this. Obviously, really... like there's nothing redeemable.
The only thing redeemable about him is in Anastasia because he has that awesome song.
Well, I don't say that's I don't think that redeems him as much as makes him slightly more likable. And I think that's more on, the writers and Christopher Lloyd's part, but you know, because I just like, oh man, listen to Christopher Lloyd talk. That always just puts me in a nice place.
Yeah.
Is there anything about Rasputin to you? Like, just thinking of these different depictions of him, anything about him that really kind of stands out, or is it really just trying to make sense of this confusing historical figure that there are so many unknowns about? Because a lot of what we know about Rasputin as an actual person in history is based off of hearsay. We don't really know who he was. Obviously, we don't, because we weren't there. And the stories that were told, a lot of it was like he was just a bastard who was a womanizer and did all this horrible stuff and manipulated the crown and eventually led to their death.
Yeah. I don't know, it's weird because it's almost like, how can I put this? He's almost like an urban legend that has something to back it up.
Some sort of historical backing.
Yeah. Because a lot of these urban legends, like, I don't know what, but, it comes to mind the Jersey Devil.
Uh-huh.
There's nothing really to back up the Jersey Devil. People have claimed, oh, I've seen it, but there's not don't think there's a birth certificate that says the Jersey Devil, he was born with a tail, and I'm not sure. And you would think, and I hope whoever listens to this will send us some info if there is any other representations of Rasputin where he maybe is portrayed in some kind of maybe not sympathetic or anything like that, but more as a
maybe not a complete bastard.
Yeah, because I mean, just like the two, I mean, and I believe and maybe I'm kind of going out on a limb here, but I think the two representations we picked are the most prominent. I can't when I think of Rasputin, I think of Anastasia and Hellboy.
Yeah, I mean, they took at the time especially, like, it's a fairly prominent figure in history, or at least like it's one of those sort of tall tales. It's like an actual figure, but once again, there's so much unknown about him.
Yeah.
That
it's funny that the two most prominent depictions of him are just so like evil. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Like
there's there's no real evil even. I mean, sure, he might not have been a good person, but I mean, to say that the actual human being that existed, was he evil? I don't know.
Yeah, that's just crazy. I just think, and I don't know. Maybe the people that uh, the writers and directors and what have you that decided to portray him in this light, maybe they were more steeped in the lore and the history of it.
Well, I don't.
Maybe they thought, this guy it seemed like a terrible person. And
Honestly, I mean, at least with Anastasia, I don't think that it was necessarily that, but that's also because, like, I don't know what you know about, like, the actual story of Anastasia and the Romanovs, but, like, Anastasia did not live when they came for her family. Like, first off, I believe that Rasputin died before they did, and then it was shortly after that the entire family, Anastasia included, was brutally murdered.
yeah, I mean, I know sort of the timeline. Like,
Yeah.
I knew that he died before, any of
Yeah.
this.
So, I mean, it's more like, I think it was less the, thinking he's an actual and evil person, but just having that sort of like weird mystic air around him that kind of made like, okay, so what could that mean? We can make him into a lich as they did in Anastasia, or
Mhm.
they could, I'm not, like I said, I'm not too versed in Hellboy and all what he was there, but it was still something that existed beyond the time, like some sort of, I don't want to say immortal being, but something with some sort of mystical powers and extended lifespan.
Well, his main goal, what in Hellboy anyway, was to bring this creature from this other reality. And it could have been one of those situations, which I'm not saying is okay by any means. But it could
So
have
don't summon like, demons and
well,
creatures
no,
from the abyss.
hey, if you want to summon creatures from the abyss, I'm cool with that. What I'm trying to say is don't side with Nazis.
Oh, well then yeah, we 100% agree with that. Don't
Yeah,
side with Nazis.
because he could have just been like, I find these people extremely inferior, but they have an interest in this, and I know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to use this to my advantage. You know what I'm saying?
I guess so, but I'm also just thinking about punching Nazis.
Well, hey, there's a lot of that in Hellboy, so that's why you should check it out.
Hey, there's my reason to watch.
Yeah, and it's a good movie. Anyway, but I don't know. Do you think we've kind of reached the end of our Rasputin?
I think so, and I just want to ask Lance, how do you think that we should rate Rasputin out of 5?
I think we should rate him out of 5 razzle dazzles.
What?
Because it's a t-shirt I saw. It's a t-shirt.
Like, I really want you to explain that one because I enjoy it, but that's because I like razzle dazzle and I need a little bit more.
Because oh my god, there's this t-shirt. I even sent it to Stefan just because I thought it was so funny. But there's this t-shirt and it keeps I don't know who made it. I know there's some company that made it. It has a picture of Rasputin on it. Like an actual photograph of him.
Yeah.
It says, give him the old razzle dazzle. I just always thought that was so funny for some reason. I don't know why. I have no idea.
Oh man, I really like that because I was just gonna be over here and say like, out of 5, out of however many out of 5 faithful Midwestern bat henchmen.
I like mine more.
I like, darn it, I hate it because I don't know, like, other than your weird anecdote, I don't understand how Razzle Dazzle works, but I also am always gonna have to vote Razzle Dazzle, so we're going with Razzle Dazzle.
Well, we gotta agree, and we gotta think of are we going with are we kind of combining both of the film versions of him? Are we combining the film versions along with the historical, the real Rasputin?
I would say it's more the depictions of him.
I agree.
Maybe somewhat influenced by how the historical figure was depicted. You know, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I totally agree. So, you want to go first?
Sure. So I've been thinking about this a lot, and while the lich depiction of him in the Anastasia movie does make me really happy, the fact of the matter is that at least in the depiction that I know the most about, he's just always kind of a bastard who always seems to fail at his plans.
Yeah.
Like really horribly.
Yeah.
And sure, there are some, good song numbers and stuff like that kind of really help his likability factor. Honestly, let's just say if I were a henchman, he's not one that I'd really want to follow. There's not that much there for me to want to, take part in.
Yeah, he is kind of a fuck up, isn't he?
Yeah, he fucks really much up.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah.
I don't know. Now I'm kind of sympathizing with him. Being a fuck up myself,
I mean, we can't.
I'm not siding with Nazis, though.
We cannot sympathize with. Okay, you know what? You're right. In one of the depictions, he did side with Nazis. I'm going to give him 1 out of 5 razzle dazzles.
Oh, really?
Yep. 1 out of 5 razzle dazzles.
I thought we were rating this on like how evil he is and how much of a piece of shit he is.
He is a piece of shit, but I also he's evil and he's a piece of shit, but he also is I think he's not a very successful villain. That's kind of where I'm at. Is the villain successful? So he is a 1 out of 5 from me.
See, and I rate them just by how much of a piece of shit they are.
Oh, well then.
I don't really regard
this rating system makes so much more sense. And you
don't have to follow me though. We just have two different opinions.
Yeah, how many razzle dazzles does it get?
I give him 5.
Are you?
Because he's a piece of shit. Okay, the first, in Anastasia, he spends the entire film wanting to murder an innocent girl just because he's pissed off. You know how many little girls have pissed me off over the years? Do I fucking try to kill them? No. I'm raising a little girl. So
Lance, 5?
Because he's a piece of shit. I rate him.
So there are a lot of people are pieces of shit, but I wouldn't give him 5 stars for it.
I don't know, man. There's plenty of people and assholes I know in my life that I would give them 5 stars on. You're fucking being a piece of scum. Shit. Yeah, you're a fucking human scum. And because in Hellboy, he's a complete bastard. He, as we stated countless times within the past 10 minutes, he sides with the Nazis. And, he wants to bring this fucking creature into the world. I don't know, bring about paradise. I don't know much about that. But, I give him 5 out of 5 just because he's such an asshole.
See, this is really where it breaks down. Because I'm over here, if I was going to be a henchman, could I follow this evil fellow or this evil person? And then you're over here is this person shitty? Yep, they're a good villain. And I'm I find it interesting how we rate villains differently.
Yeah, because just to me, he has no redeemable qualities.
Oh no, he's a piece of shit, but so were the majority of my exes, but that doesn't make them villains I would give 5 stars to.
Well, I'm not getting into that, but
I was gonna say, and if we want to talk about villains with poor hygiene, shit.
Oh my God, Sam. All right, but that was I guess. But that was your system and or your rating system. That was my rating system.
Hey,
Okay.
Lance,
Yes.
who do we have to thank for this episode?
The Fearscape Media Network. That's Fearscape Media Network.
Media Network.
Media Network for letting us put on this a little horse and pony show. Where can they reach us, Sam? See the tables.
Hey, all of you guys can follow us over at on Twitter and on Instagram at antagonist_AVP.
Don't
You
forget
can
about
find
Facebook.
out. Oh, and Facebook as well. Hey, and also, isn't there this cool like fan page they can join to see all kinds of cool memes and shit, Lance?
There is. It is called the Fearscape Media Fan Group, where we are talking about all things spooky and creepy. We're talking about ghosts. We're talking about monsters. We're talking about Sam's dancing. I encourage you all to come over there. It is completely fine. There's zero drama. It's
Except
great.
for when people start bringing up my dancing, and I get very upset about it.
Which I'll probably post a video shortly.
I swear to gosh, Lance,
If this episode gets enough listens, I might post a video.
Do you have a video of me dancing? Lance?
I don't know.
Lance? I don't remember what. Oh, wait. Also, I just want to give a shout out to a person. I don't know if they're ever going to hear this, but also another thing when I think about Rasputin is our friendly neighborhood Rapsputin from karaoke, Frank, who I swear to gosh is the flyest white rapper that I have ever seen in my entire damn life.
Good God, that was the whitest thing I've ever heard.
On
that note, goodbye, everybody. Happy
Goodbye.
New Year.
Goodbye and happy 2021, everyone. See you later.